Welcome to the Orlando Lions Den podcast, your number one Orlando City podcast. For the fans, by the fans. For the fans, by the fans. Keeping you in the know on all things Orlando City since 2018.
Yo, welcome back to another edition of the Orlando Lions Den podcast. I'm trying to get tweets out here, and I am sucking at it before the show starts.
You and me both, my friend. You and me both.
I try and type so fast, but I fat thumb the entire time I'm doing it. But I am excited. As Eddie would say, we got the exciting white shifts in tonight, the two Alexes and Mike. And we got two games to talk about. Slight rumor that's been percolating out there a little bit. We'll talk a little U.S. men's national team, which I'm sure we all have our feelings about. But I'm going to start today off with a question while I get these tweets out. So I'm going to start with Alex Brown, in honor of 4th of July coming up, in a 10-minute hot dog eating contest. How many hot dogs do you think you could take down?
7 or 8. I would say.
I'm a little bit disappointed in that.
I'm not going to shoot too high, man, because I've done not hot dog eating contest, but I've eaten loads of hot dogs before. But 10 minutes is not a lot of time. I would say it's 7.5 over under for me. I mean, I don't like to put myself into those sort of situations. I'm not trained for it, so. Although it may appear I am, but
shut up. The record, by the way, 76 hot dogs by one Mr. Joey Chestnut, who I believe is making his triumphant return this year to the Nathan's National Hot Dog Eating Contest because he is no longer sponsored by Impossible Foods or whatever the problem was.
It would take me a solid 5 to 7 days to eat 76 hot dogs, I think.
That's actually probably fair. Alex Ryder, what about you, my man? What is your what's your hot dog eating capacity for a competition?
It's funny you bring this up because not 2 hours ago, Kayla got home and was watching a TikTok about a couple doing the 999 challenge, and they were doing it together.
Mm-hmm.
I think I could maybe do 5 or 6 in the contest, but even for a 999 challenge, if you're doing it with your spouse, 4.5 each, that's doable. It's the beers that's the problem.
Alex, what's your thoughts on the 999 challenge?
I mean, with somebody else, no problem.
Easy.
But is it beer or is it 9 drinks in general? Because that was something Kayla and I got into it about. This is what my marriage.
I think it has to be alcoholic beverages. This is
gotta
part
be
of
alcohol.
This is part of my demise. Was slipping in some margaritas when I had attempted to do it, I think. But yeah, I think it has to be both. But with a partner, I mean, Erin, I could probably count on her doing maybe 3 dogs and 2 beers, so that would leave me 6 dogs and 7 beers. It's still tough, man, because when you get to the end, it's like, it's not fun. So yeah, my recent experience with the 999 challenge also has given me some insight on the 10-minute hot dog eating contest. And yeah, I wouldn't want to do more than 7, I think. If anybody says they could do more than 7 in 10 minutes, because I mean, you're going to get
the time limit. 10 minutes.
You're first 4 to 5 down, and in the first 2 to 3 minutes, I would say. But then it hits you like a rock.
Here's my stance. If buns weren't there, I think that I would do significantly better.
Obviously, I mean, if buns weren't there, for sure.
Probably knock back 12. I feel like I think I could get through them fast enough. I'm not sure though, but at the same time, the bun being there makes it so much more difficult. And I also couldn't do the whole water dunking thing that they do with the bun, because just the thought of trying to eat soggy bread disgusts me.
It's
that's where the gag reflex comes in.
Yeah, no, I do have one of those last time I checked.
Plus, I'm old now, older. And
We're
maybe
all
when I was
getting old.
younger, I wouldn't really care about the consequences. But
Aren't you the youngest one out of the group?
I don't know. But while I'm eating dog number 5, I mean, I thought I was 30 up until about 2 weeks ago, and then my wife told me I was 32, and I was like, oh my, I am 32. I did the math. It shook me for about 48 hours, but yeah, I would just be thinking about the consequences after like the fourth or fifth dog. After 3 minutes, I'd be like, oh man, this is going to be, if I go any farther, it's going to be terrible.
I'm just picturing you though, out wherever you're at, like the meme from Narcos where he's just sitting there realizing that you're 32.
Yeah, that was me. My wife was like, I'm 32 now, and I was like, what do you mean you're 32? I'm older than you by a couple months. There's no way. I'm 32. And then I did the math, and I was like, I am 32.
I mean, to be
Wrestling with
completely
your
honest,
mortality.
my grandma's been 21 for about 48 years. So, I just
How old are you guys?
I am
34?
I turned 34 in September.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Life comes at you fast. Been doing this
Real fast.
this podcast for, I don't know, since I was 24, I guess.
Almost
So.
8 years. I still had hair when I started on this podcast.
Yeah, that's
I'm still the new guy. So.
I did shave my beard for Cleon.
And then he didn't show up.
It was getting a little long and itchy, and I'm going to be an airline pilot, and hopefully by middle of next year, and you can't have any facial hair. So I was like,
enjoy it while you can.
I was like, I want to get it as long as I've ever gotten it, and then it got into like 50-50. Like, I need to shave this, and I was like, oh, but I want to get it really long. And then the sliding scale as it gets longer is just, I ended up just cutting it off.
I wouldn't know what that life is like. I haven't shaved in about a week and a half, and this is as best as it gets. So.
Impressive.
Yeah,
I've been shaved in 2 days.
I'd like to see how long riders can get.
Dude, go look at the pods from 2020. My COVID beard got gnarly, and I was dating Kayla at the time. I was dating her. And
she put up with it. That's good.
She married me, so
that's how you know
something worked out there.
A keeper.
Oh,
all right.
100%.
Well, we can talk about our keepers as much as we want to, but let's go ahead and get into the show. If you're watching, Kayla, we love you. We'll get there. But so if you guys are listening along in the chat, that's the question of the day. Go ahead and let us know how many hot dogs you think you could eat in 10 minutes. Let's talk about some sponsors. Shout out Hourglass Brewing for No Mango, No Party. 2nd year in a row working with them. We love them and would drink this beer in a 999 challenge if we could. Second is Chad McGibbon. If you're trying to buy a house in the Central Florida area, at Chad McGibbon on Twitter or the QR code on the screen. And if you're trying to buy that house and you need a mortgage, hit up Leo Gonzalez with the Epic Mortgage Team powered by U Mortgage. He's got you with your mortgage needs, your refinance needs, and really any questions as well. Phone number, QR code, all that fun stuff on the screen. If you're not watching along, just message us. We'll get you his info. And same goes for our man, Eddie. Insurance questions. Hurricane season is starting to get going. I think it's starting to pick up for you guys. I don't know. This is my first time not having a hurricane season.
I just got an alert that there's something in the Gulf. So
yeah, something out there. So perfect time to make sure that you're taken care of as far as your home insurance, auto insurance, any kind of insurance goes. Eddie's got you covered. QR code again is on the screen as it always is. But again, message the podcast. Message our page. Let us know what's going on. We'll be happy to get you connected with Eddie because that's just what we do. All right, guys. So we got some games to talk about. First is the happy one. Let's go ahead and talk about the dub here over St. Louis. First visit to St. Louis. I still do not know what a Luligan is, but I'm scared to find out. But we got a 4-2 victory over St. Louis City. Brace from Ramiro Enrique, brace from Marco Pasalic. How anybody still gives this man space on his left foot at the top of the 18 this far into the season, beyond me. I don't know. We capitalized on their defensive errors. Went up 3-0. fell down 3-2. Paslich got the game ender to put it away 4-2 at the end. Some defensive gaps, but other than that, this was an exciting game. I remember the lineup getting put out with Schlegel being suspended. I saw people saying, all right, we got Poppy Sufferball coming, as Eddie would say. And it ended up being a fun game. So, Ryder, I'll start with you since I started with Brown last time. Thoughts on the game? How do you feel?
This was a fun one. First half, we came out swinging. We made St. Louis look absolutely tragic. I don't understand, like you said, why do you give Paslich this much space? And he does that. Even Angulo, he does that, gets one tap, puts it in from downtown. Great goal. Did that win goal of the match day? I don't think it did. We never get that.
I don't think so.
But it was a great goal. He tried for that in the second match. We can talk about that later. But I think that everyone underestimates him, and he is using that to his advantage. And the same for Enrique. Like I said the last time I was on the pod a few weeks ago, we got to get the summer of Enrique back with Duncan out, and we're getting that. 2 guys with braces in a match away midweek after not playing for 10 days. That's what we needed. And then we squandered it. So the first half was great. I don't know why we took the foot off the gas. This could have easily have been 5 or 6-1. Defensively, we were a bit questionable, and that carried over into the weekend. You got to do better and not let them back in it, because it was looking for a sec like they were going to get back in it, and then Paslich put it away at the end. And not to mention the fact that Enrique got robbed of our second hat trick of the year. So
yeah, I remember in the group chat I basically mentioned that I was like, wow, Angulo did something great on that opening goal. And then, like, as I was typing about the opening goal, Paslich scored a second. I was like, what a time to be alive. And then we got to that moment, and I'll pass it over to Alex, the other Alex here. I don't know what was going through Angulo's cranium at that exact moment. He, pardon my French, I'm going to use my dad's old saying, he got himself caught between a shit and a fart, didn't know what to do. And instead of passing it or trying to shoot it, just went directly into Roman Berkey and lost the ball. So, Alex, can you just, like, PG wise, explain your thoughts as this moment was unfolding?
Was anybody surprised?
No.
I mean, that's kind of what I had to revert myself back to, honestly. It was like, for like a quarter of a second, I was like, unbelievable. And then I was like, what am I talking about? Totally believable what just happened. So, you know, the fact that it robbed Enrique of a hattie in the first half was the most unbearable part for me. I don't know
first
how.
Half hat trick was so close.
I don't know how he started on Saturday. I don't. After that, I don't.
He got taken off at the half. That's something, I guess.
Overall, I mean, I mentioned last week on the pod, the heat was going to play a factor, and it helped us. I think if it's a normal night, you know, without anything crazy, heat-wise, you could tell St. Louis was dead. They're just not used to that. And
that Midwest heat was hitting different.
Man, they were gassed at the end, and you know, our livelihood of being down in Orlando and dealing with that every single day definitely actually helped us on the road, as crazy as that sounds, and helped us secure the 3 points. Otherwise, I think they may have came back. But yeah, you can't do that. It should have been 4-1. Instead, it's 3-2 very quickly after, and it was just unacceptable from Angulo. I would say it was the cherry on top, but apparently that was just like the 17th scoop of crappy ice cream that we're going to add to the sundae that is Ivan Angulo, because he continued to start. And I don't know. I mean, Nico Rodriguez, who's got to just be terrible. And at this point, Ojeda's been playing well in the 10, but I'm thinking, you ship him out left and start Muriel and get all 3 DPs on the field. That's been where we've been the most effective, I think. It sucks to do that because then we don't have much behind. If we're starting Enrique at striker, we don't have much behind to sub in at all. But, hopefully when you put those 4 guys in to start a match, don't really have to worry about, what am I going to do if I'm down a goal or tied. Hopefully we put ourselves in a position to win, which we've done most of the time this year. We scored the first goal, I think in all but 3 or 4 matches or something like that. So,
Yeah.
It's something that to ponder and think about, in my opinion. And even if you're down, Angulo, the only positive that he's brought ever really is his speed. And if he's, coming in 65th, 70th minute and we're down a goal or even, and, he can actually use that to be a difference maker, maybe take some pressure off of him. But yeah, I thought, it's been tiring watching him play. And what makes it even more tiring to me is watching how good Pasalic has been on the right side, watching how good Ojeda has been, watching how good everybody else has been. And everybody stepped up and he's gone, down. There's no way other than to put it. People can say, everybody else has stepped up and he's been even. I don't think that's the case. I think that everybody else has stepped up and he's gone down. So, just thinking what could be, I think Supporter Shield is probably out of it after Saturday, especially with our schedule coming up. Honestly,
Brutal.
I think we're the 4th. We're going to be playing for that 4th or 5th spot, in my opinion. So, and that's the best case scenario. The East is a mess. It's brutal. It's tough. And, to me, it's us in Nashville for 4th and 5th. And it's going to come down to having home field advantage in 2 games or not at home. So, which we're better on the road most times. So it doesn't really bother me either which way. But yeah, overall, I'm just, I was happy with the performance on Wednesday. I was sad I couldn't get to go. My father-in-law was there. He texted me a picture when we were up 3-0. He said, "Ouch." And I thought we were going to be, I was watching the F1 movie on IMAX in a pre-screening. And I thought when I got that text, I thought I was going to come out about 50th minute into the car and see 4-5-0, but that wasn't the case. And, luckily we were lucky to bring it home. We're lucky the heat had an effect and we did what we had to do. Thank goodness for Marco Pasalic, who had 3 in the last 2 last week. And, without him, we're a much worse team. He's got to be one of the most impactful players in the history of Orlando City.
I agree with you.
Just for this season.
I'm bringing this comment back up just because I wanted to go ahead, Alex. I'm going to say something that's stupid. So,
especially when he's slotting in to replace Facundo, we talked about it in the group chat. He's the upgrade beam. And that was something we weren't sure about at the start of the season. Facundo leaving was a big deal, but it was good business. And we get Pasalic in there, and he's immediately getting involved. And that's what we needed.
Well, that's, I know, something that, when we were talking preseason and giving our predictions, I want to say that I said that I thought we were going to finish 8th or 9th in the East because of how tough the East was. And because of the fact that losing Facundo Torres, who last year in all comps, I want to say it was 20 goals he scored. I'm like, how are we going to make up for that? And meanwhile, we have Ojeda and Pasalic, who combined right now, I think have 18 goals in all competitions. A little over halfway through the season. That's a big upgrade. That's an improvement. Plus Muriel, who has more goals this year. Angulo has been an obvious downgrade, but I do want to go ahead and just shout out the comment here because we didn't mention that the scenes of Muriel getting pantsed. And I just feel like that deserves a quick moment because I have not laughed so hard at one of our games where he just literally took off his shorts, said, "If you want him so bad, dang, take him." Sure. Made me laugh. But so with the positives and the negative of Angulo, and Alex, we might talk about the F1 movie later because I'm curious. came a 2-1 loss at home to FC Cincinnati. 2 goals. I believe both of them were scored by Evander, who, if you were with us during preseason, all of us were like, hey, he wants to leave Portland. Let's go get him. Clearly that didn't happen. There was interest, but it didn't happen. Paslich got us one back. It was too little, too late. And talk of this game is going to be the first goal. The first goal
what
that
are we doing?
conceded. Like, Pedro Gallese is one of the best goalkeepers in the league. You cannot do something like that. And I like the way that MLS is trying to spin it as like, oh, this was such an amazing Evander goal. And I'm like, no, he was on the opposite post. It was so easy for him. I know it was distance and he had to strike it with power, but come on.
He didn't even strike it with that much power. It was literally when he's striking it, you sent someone in the group chat. It was either you or
it was Alex.
Oh, was it Alex?
Yeah, I stole it from him.
And as the ball is being struck, Pedro's on the far side. Like, what
And stepping
are we
away.
doing? What are we doing? That's not what we needed. That's not what you need to defend. Never mind the fact that we gave up that spot in the first place because this game got away from the refs so quickly. Like,
yeah, because I was also right.
I will not be. I'm shocked we haven't already heard that Oscar is going to be suspended for the next match because he was arguing with the ref down the tunnel. Like,
and that's all well and good. The ref didn't put Pedro in that position, though.
No. I'm not blaming the ref for that. I'm blaming the ref for the entire. I'm blaming Pedro for that. That's entirely on Pedro.
And I know you're not, but obviously you guys know the discourse with our fan base. We see it on Twitter all the time. Like, everyone is blaming the ref. The ref belongs on OBT, yada, yada, yada. I'm sorry. That's Pedro's fault. Like, that would never be a goal if he was positioned in the middle of the net. Never. Like,
how are we blaming the ref? What was the ref? I don't even.
It was the.
I saw people blaming the ref, but I don't know how.
I might be forgetting. It might not have been that one, but there were.
I think it was after. I believe it was after that where Matt Miazga put a hand around someone's neck. I didn't see the clip because I didn't get to watch.
And it was the
first half.
The called foul, but there was a possible handball that should have maybe been a penalty. This is sports. This is what sports is. It's not. This is part of all sports. Is bad refereeing. It's never good refereeing. You know, when the ref is good, they barely get any praise. The mistakes happen, just like Pedro being way off his line. It's a mistake. You cannot. You do not control that. You can, I'm sitting here in the worst part of the country, I think, that you can be in, and I haven't flown in 2 weeks because the weather is horrible. But can I get mad about that? No, I can't control the weather. You can't control the refs. It's the same thing. You know, it's what you have to control, what you can control. And I know we lost 2-1, but that we win this game if Pedro doesn't make that error. Plain and simple. There's no doubt in my mind.
Because the second goal doesn't happen if we're not pushed forward for the first goal. Which
okay, I will say answered my question. I was going to say, you think we score a second one if Pedro doesn't let that in?
No, game state's just totally different.
I don't think they score at all.
Yeah,
they have
tied 0-0.
0.3. I'm not an expected goal guy, but they had like 0. They didn't have any chances the whole match. It was there was nothing for Pedro to do except mess up, and that's what he did. And it was an egregious mistake, and it's hard not to draw a parallel to these type of mistakes always come in these type of games. And it's super frustrating as a fan of a team that always appears to take the next step, that makes the correct signings. You know, we killed it this offseason, from the draft to Atuesta to Pasalic. We hit it out of the ballpark. The front office did this offseason. And to get into a big match against a team that's ahead of us in the table, that's been, predominantly one of the best teams in the league the last 2 or 3 years, and then not just lose the game. If we lost a hard fight, if the whole match was played like the last 10, 15 minutes of the match was, and we lose, whatever. we lose. It was tooth and nail, right? But we lost the game because of an error from our most tenured player. A guy that many of us think could and maybe should be the captain of the squad. You know, I it's unacceptable to make that mistake. And I tweeted it, man. It's just I don't understand how these guys that have been here the longest are the ones that are the biggest liabilities. I don't get that. It doesn't make any sense. You know, Cesar cost us points against Atlanta, probably 3. Pedro probably cost us 3 points tonight. You get Schlegel. He's cost us points his whole career. It's just those 3 guys should be the backbone of this team, and instead they're the guys that we got to worry about whenever they're on the score sheet. And I don't know what you want to blame that on. I mean, you can blame it on whatever you want. There's a lot of aspects that go into it. It's the player themselves. It's the coaching, whether people like it or not. And you know, I'm past the point of getting upset about how we play because we play well, but now we move on to the next issue with the coaching, and that's where's the discipline at? And it's always been a big issue, and it's just there's no discipline when it comes to these guys that are supposed to be, whether it's Angulo, those 4 guys, Angulo, Schlegel, Cesar, Pedro. The discipline, it's like, you know, have you been with your coach? Have you guys are buddies now to where there's no accountability? You know, there's no discipline. It's just, you know, you have the same boss for 6 years, and now, you know, you're not on your toes anymore. So you go out to get drinks after work and you visit each other's family, and you know, then when you mess up at work, it's like, that's my buddy. So, you know, I can't really get too mad at him, you know, because we got drinks later tonight. So the discipline is an issue. It always has been. And the underlying problem, the frustration for me is it's a mistake that shouldn't be made. The Angulo mistake that happened the other day on Wednesday is just a mistake that shouldn't be made, you know. And it's frustrating to me. People that are saying it too about Bracalo and missing that sitter. Okay. I understand, you know, any guy's supposed to make that if you're a professional soccer player. I get it, right? But dude, he just ran around the field for 90 minutes. The guy's just run 8 miles or 7 miles in an hour and a half.
And don't put that on a defender.
Like on top, that's what I was going to say. On top of that, he's the only one that's getting into the position. He is the last person that you should expect to be in that position at that. If it was a header, if it was like a lifted cross, that's different. He's better at those. But like, what do you expect? He's a center back.
Alex Freeman, if the U.S. would actually let him do that.
Well, the positive is if we lose tomorrow, Freeman's back for the weekend. So there's no 3rd place game anymore for the Gold Cup.
Well, I think we're going to lose to Guatemala, but
I don't
anyways,
think we are either.
We almost lost the other day.
The problem is there's a lot of problems with it, but I mean, I'm just so tired of having these big matches and then having some extreme mental meltdown that leaves your jaw on the floor, that leaves you taking pictures of your screen. So, because you can't believe it. So you got to share it because you literally can't believe what just happened on your screen.
You just saw, yeah.
And you know, it's just, we have to get better in these moments. We have been horrible in these moments. Somebody pointed out the only 2 big games that we've ever won was the Open Cup final and last year against Atlanta, which both those teams that we played are super inferior to us. You know, we're supposed to beat those teams. I want to win games that we're not supposed to win. You know, and in this game we were supposed to win easy. We were the favorites against the draw and the Cincinnati one. We were, you know, at the book we were favored to win the game, and we didn't. And I'm tired of big matches going by the wayside and then saying, "Oh, everything's going to be okay." We played with them. We played with them for 90 minutes. We showed that we can keep up with them. We're past that.
Where
being
are
the
we
baseline.
at scoring?
That's Orlando. That's Orlando theory is, we played as good. We showed that we could play as good as them. No, I want to go in and beat teams. and say we won that game, wasn't even close. We are dominant. We just don't have it.
Good to see you, JJ.
Hi, JJ.
I will say though, just to counter JJ there, and Alex, we are because you asked, we are very high in scoring this year, but I ended up doing a little bit of research on my own because I said going into this game, I'm like, if you want to be one of the top teams, this is a game you have to win at home. So this result for me was super disappointing, but Alex mentioned it. We've been talking about it. We kind of tend to not show up in those big games. So I ended up doing the math of teams that finished in the top 5 in their conference. So East and West since 2021, because I exclude the COVID year because everything was weird. 14 wins, 21 losses, 13 draws. Like at some point you got to take that step up. You know, you got to be able to win those big games. And so far we haven't done it. The best that we did was 2 years ago where we were actually had a winning record. So, you know, it's one of those things that you got to be better. You just have to.
Barely even a point per game.
Yeah.
It's not good enough.
It's not.
And you can't blame. I mean, look at what the front office has done. You know, there's not very many facets of the game that you can place direct blame on, but
no,
discipline, leadership has got to be up there because there's, you know, the Pedro mistake,
and that's on
starting Angulo again. You know, there's some things where I know we've only lost 5 times this year, and it's amazing to have that, you know, have a team that's that good. But look at what our roster has done. Look at how far we've come. We have a dominant back line. We have a dominant midfield. We got the starting right back for the U.S. men's national team right now. We have Janssen, who has been great. We have Brekalo, who's come up to form this year, you know, in the back line. Our midfield, when they're playing the best, when they're playing their game, not even their best, just their game, arguably one of the top 5 midfields in the league, maybe even better than that.
Atuesta had 3 assists against St. Louis.
Probably the best right winger in the league. And Ojeda, a top 5 number 10 in the league. And
MVP candidate this year.
When you look at the striker position, you got, when Duncan's back, 3 guys that can consistently get you goals. And then to put it all on top of that, Oscar Pereja is one of the best coaches in the league. I get that. So when you do the math, there's no reason that we should be having these sort of letdowns. There's no reason that this should be happening. So, you know, I would have been able to take it a lot easier if we just lost the game. Okay, we are a 4 or 5 seed, right? I get it. Or if we had done what we should be doing, which is winning the game. But to lose it in that fashion, to have just a mental collapse and breakdown is just, you know, it's tough.
Can I take that a step further? Because we were talking before we started, we got 180 minutes to talk about. We only had about 50 that we actually enjoyed. The first 45 in St. Louis and the last 5 at home against Cincy. I'm sorry, we only put the pedal to the metal in the last 5 minutes, and that's how we got the goal back. But that was too little too late. We looked out of form. We looked like, not to be whatever, we looked like we had played midweek and we were coming off tired and we didn't have the right tactics. And that was true, but putting the pedal to the metal right at the end and getting a goal back, that's great. It was too little too late. And we did the complete opposite against St. Louis, and we took the foot off the gas and tried to conserve was it 3-1 at that point or 3-0? I think it was 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
It was 3-1 when Angulo did his thing, but yeah. I mean, and I don't know, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole first half.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was great.
Against Cincinnati. Against Cincinnati too. I mean, we played well. We had chances to score. You know, Salentano had a couple amazing saves, and we were the much better team. for that, but the it's not even like it was a minor meltdown, a minor error. It was an egregious error that nobody at Pedro's level, let alone the highest or second highest paid goalkeeper in the league, should be making ever at any point. So, but yeah, I agree with JJ about getting a new left winger. Are we talking about transfers?
Yeah, that was going to get brought up at some point. There was an interview that Ricardo did with Mike Gramajo. Shout out Mike. We always appreciate his content and the work that he does. Ricardo said the goal is to bring in one or two players. Ricardo, being this his first season where he's now the top dog taking over middle of the year, he was made sure to be smart and said, that doesn't mean I'm going to get 1 to 2 players in, but that's what I want to do. He said they're not looking in league. Go for it.
It don't matter.
It don't matter. Okay.
When have we ever brought in an impactful summer signing? They don't play for Oscar. They take 6 months to get even a chance to play, to get into the team and the game. It's just, we don't bring in Oscar Pereira. It's not in his DNA as a coach to let a guy come in the summer, 22 games through, and immediately make an impact. It does not happen. No matter how bad the guy before is playing, it don't happen.
I'm going to counter you a little bit on that. And my counter is, immediately this season, the 2 new guys in Pasalic and Atuesta got thrown in the starting lineup, and as long as they're healthy, haven't left. That's a sign of potential change for Oscar that I'm going to be hopeful for, because I agree. You all agree. The left winger is left winger is a necessity.
Totally different at the beginning of the season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with Alex on this one.
Thursday, when we had a Wednesday game and have a Saturday one coming up.
Yeah, I agree with Alex on this one. You're bringing in people mid-season. I'm racking my brain. I can't think of anyone in our history, let alone, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the history of the league where a mid-season signing has completely overhauled a team. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but
Zlatan,
just look
that's all I can think about.
Yeah, but did they win a trophy with Zlatan?
No. Yeah, I don't see it happening. And we don't have Atuesta was he had no choice but to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a guy tear his Achilles. It's him or a rookie out of the 26th pick in the draft, and you're paying him money. Atuesta had no choice but to start. Pasalic, same thing. Had no choice but to start. He's replacing Facu. He's a DP. He's making, he's a big time transfer as far as money is concerned. Those 2 guys are not anomalies for me, but that's what had to be done. Right now, there's nothing that says that Angulo, other than us watching with our eyes, that says Angulo has to be replaced. And that's
even
that's
on the
really
score sheet. He got taken out at the halftime.
Yeah.
Damn, taken out at halftime. That doesn't happen to him that often.
Just trying to be an optimist here.
No,
hey, that used to be my job. You can have it.
I'm trying to be, but no, I see everything that you guys are saying, and realistically, I'm gonna go ahead and use this to segue into stock up, stock down, and that's just because I hate to do it because of the fact that I think he's been pretty good this year. My stock down goes to Oscar Pereira because insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Ivan Angulo has started 20 games this season. He has 1 assist, and that's it. Not counting fake assists because they're not real. Something has to change. I know that Nico Rodriguez is more of a right winger. Give him a shot. Put Ojeda out there. Do something else, anything else, because Angulo is not working. He is a $60-something thousand TAM player that is ineffective. We could literally get a kid from college who will play better. I think Gustavo Caraballo at this point is a better option. So my stock down is, there's other candidates that are out there. It's going to Oscar Pereira because he's still putting him in the game. He's still starting every week. Started every single game this season. It has not changed. Stock up, I'm going to give it to Pasalic. 3 goals this week is awesome. He's a dog, and I love him. And I'm going to go ahead and say I'm completely sorry that I doubted him because I definitely came on our preseason preview, and I'm like, I hope he gets 5 goals. That'd be great. and I was
He's
wrong.
my hero.
So he should be everyone's hero. I'm hoping that there's going to be a
Don't
little
give him
Croatian kid in the
space.
stands who's just like, woo, yeah, my dude. So that's where I think we're at. Ryder, I'll go to you first. Your stock up, stock down.
I'll keep it brief for stock down. And Gulo, just sorry,
Fair.
bud.
Fair.
You gotta go. Stock up, you took Paslic from me, so I'll go Enrique. He's getting hot in the summer, and that's what we need with Duncan out, and we need Moriel more than anything to kind of be that hold back 9/10 kind of guy, and that's what we need. So if they're going to both be out there, let's do it.
Yeah, nailed it, Ryder. Stock up is Paslic. He's already pretty much at the highest range of being stock up for me. I mean, I don't know if he can go up any higher than how I was already feeling about him before these matches. Enrique said, "Give me that starting striker position. I'll take it." You know, you need the way it is right now, the way that the roster is built. You got to have Ojeda or Muriel on the bench right now. Is Oscar Pareja's way of thinking about things, right? Because with both of them on the pitch, you got no backup number 10, and we can't have it. So Enrique said, give me that starting spot. I'll take it. So stock down. Listen, Angulo, Oscar Pareja, both did exactly what I expected of them in these games. Both of them. Pedro Gallese, horrible. Terrible.
Unforgivable.
I mean, stock down to the maximum. If we're talking, I can give 5 points stock down or 100. We're at 100 here because this guy costing us the momentum that we had in that first half. Going into half like that is another thing, right? This guy did what I, did not expect of him. He's been really, really good the last 2 months and had a stinker that cost us at least a point, in my opinion, probably 3.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. And I did put JJ's comment up there just saying that Paslic is greater than Facundo already. I think we're all now seeing that. I know I was skeptical. JJ, shout out to you. You were right from the beginning. You said that you thought he was going to be a better player, and he has been. So I am going to go ahead and say that your spelling of his name is just like when you're pronouncing his name, and I also really appreciate that. That's said with love, by the way. That's said with love. All right, let's talk a little bit USMNT, and there are some rumors popping up already. I will say that the transfer window doesn't open until 7/24.
Is that how you spell already?
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say we have.
Oh, dang. No, that's gone.
Heritage.
That's gone. Heritage. Ale ready.
Somehow.
You got two Alexes on there. You're just trying to spell our names into it.
Somehow.
What happened? Nothing happened. It's fixed.
that just is tied to us is the standard typo. So I had to point that out. Sorry.
No, you nailed it. I typed too fast getting ready. You got me with that one. But no, so a couple rumors popping out there already. I will say that the window for MLS doesn't open until July 24th. I'm gonna start looking on my Twitter daily just to see if I could find stuff like I was doing during the off season. People tended to like that, so I'll keep that going. Sometimes my mornings are slow out here, so with work, so I'll keep that going. But first, got to go ahead and give a shout out to the U.S. men's national team getting to the semifinals of the Gold Cup. Penalty win over Costa Rica. And I'm going to steal Alex Brown's words here. He went from almost being out of the men's national team fully to solidifying his spot with being in the team. Our Alex Freeman almost gave up a late goal to Costa Rica to win, and then had one of the most ice cold penalties against Keylor Navas that I have seen in a while. And I could tell you right now, all of us were sweating bullets when we saw Freeman step up to take that penalty. Our group chat was from Manscaped League One, shout out, was literally on fire. Like, oh no, oh God, oh crap, oh no.
Oh, my heart rate was 150
Trauma.
when he stepped up and they were showing his face close up. And then he did his run up, and it went from 150 to I almost died during the
Yeah, it
during
was.
the run
You
up
were
to
an
the pen.
AFib at that point. Like,
The Apple Watch
because-
is just going nuts.
the Apple
worst
Watch is
run
like
up I've ever
about
seen.
to dial 911. Like, are you okay?
It's just
But
a horribly painful run up, and then buries it.
But dude, I was gonna say the stones on him, because I agree. You guys know how much I hate a slow run up or like a one where they go ahead and fully stop. He did everything that I hated in his run up, but he stared down Keylor Navas, arguably, and I would say, in my opinion, the greatest CONCACAF goalkeeper of all time. Sorry, Tim Howard. Keylor Navas is better, and he just put it right past. He told him where he was putting it and put it right past him. That takes stones. I'm proud of the kid.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him. Anything to add, Ryder? Because we were kind of just kept speaking there.
No, I honestly, I only tuned in for the penalty shootout, and seeing him step up and taking that kind of penalty kick. You said it. It took stones. It was not pleasant to watch, not only as a US fan, but as an Orlando City fan. And seeing him do that, despite the fact that Greg Berhalter's kid,
Sky's penalty.
Yeah, and the broadcast did not do that family any favors.
That was hilarious. That was so funny, man. He skied his penalty and immediately cuts to Greg.
Just immediately, like the director's like, cut to Greg.
We're doing it no matter what.
No, that was
Doing it
already
no matter.
Either they're going to celebrate and
Yeah.
go, yeah, this is the best contribution to the U.S. men's national team ever, or
By a
oh,
Berhalter.
Yeah, they were like they had the finger on the switch, the toggle. They were like, make or miss, we're going to them before the ball even gets picked out of the net or the stands.
someone made a Gio Reyna joke in the group chat, and I was just like, oh god.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with Gio. He's interesting career he's had so far.
I think the U.S. they can win the Gold Cup. It's just this is not the team that's going to be playing a year from now in the World Cup.
That's
Not even
my
close.
biggest issue with this team is that of this team, I would say there is maybe 8 players on it, right? Or no, maybe 10. There's a couple on there. I'd say there's maybe 10 players on this team that I think have a real shot of being on the team. And
how many of them are going to be starters, though? That's the problem. Like,
as of right now, 3.
Yeah,
for sure 3. And that's Matt Freese, because his penalty shootout job, I think he won the number 1 job over as of right now. Chris Richards is absolutely going to be starting. 4 realistically, because Tyler Adams is probably still going to be a starter. I forgot about him. And I think Malik Tillman has played himself into a position where he's going to be starting at the World Cup. He also just got a $40 million move to Bayer Leverkusen. So we'll see how that goes. But I will say, I just want to go finish up with saying a shout out to Freeman. He's also got to deal with the U.S. men's national team Twitter stands who hate MLS, who are, a lot of them are just kind of tearing him down, thinking that he's not playing good. And I'm like, you guys don't watch him in MLS. We play him completely differently. Like, granted, he got a little bit more forward in this game, but like, he plays such a different game playing with Orlando City than he does with the men's national team. But yeah, anyways. And the only rumor that's out there right now, as far as the window, is there's a lot of things popping up that Luis Muriel might be leaving Orlando City. Junior from Colombia apparently is interested. Some people said that they got money. I think that if we got rid of him, it would probably be a buyout. I'll be completely honest, though. At this point in the season, I'd rather just have him play through. He's been relatively good. He has been out of the starting lineup lately, though, which almost makes me think that it's putting a little bit of fuel on that fire.
I don't think it'll be a buyout. I think it'll be a mutual
termination.
Yeah,
and Toronto just got rid of their Italians finally. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Really wants to
two DPs out in Toronto after 3 years.
They bought out both of them. Like
that was insane.
Well,
in the language of that release,
the 2 of them combined for almost $22 million in cap hit. Like, that's how much they were getting paid.
Who would have thought the Italians weren't cut out for MLS?
I guess we found out, man.
It was
And
me. I
Drew
would have
also
thought
gone
that.
from LAFC, which is kind of surprising too.
I remember
Here's
people were
my
saying
question.
Insigne is the best signing in the history, and I was like, did you guys not watch every other Italian not named Giovinco
Yeah.
in this league? It's just how it works.
Shout out Andrea Pirlo.
Oh my gosh. Here's my question. If Morial leaves, who is backing up Enrique at this point? Because Duncan's not going to be back until what, September or October at the earliest?
Justin Ellis, you are a homegrown player. So that's what's going to happen. If there's
Muriel
no one
leaves,
that comes in
the only way Muriel leaves is by A, mutual termination of the contract,
and
and B, we have a guy ready to sign days within 48 hours after.
100%. I agree with that. Although I wouldn't hate if it was a DP left winger instead, to be completely honest. Anyways, that's a different thing. We already did that.
With Angulo leaving too, or
I don't care.
Just send him to OCB.
The next team's going to be the Guangdong Tigers. I don't care. Like,
how's your
have to
Mandarin?
learn some Chinese. You know,
he's gonna be playing fourth division Brazil, where Felipe was.
Oh damn!
He can go. He can go join the oil money. He could always go there.
No, they ain't gonna pay him. They ain't gonna pay him.
He couldn't join the baby oil money.
He's going to play for Johnson and Johnson. All right. Anyways,
Diddy FC.
Right. Yeah. Oh no. A Diddy FC. That's where we're at.
All right. Next.
No. Oh God. Okay, we got to end this episode fast now. All right. We got Charlotte away on Saturday. Hopefully they're keeping real grass on the field because that would be a cool thing to see. Because they had it there for the Club World Cup. Tim Ream and Patrick Ajamong still going to be out for playing with the U.S. men's national team, as is Alex Freeman, assuming that they all advance with the game tomorrow night, which I will assume that they will here on Wednesday. I will go ahead and give it to Ryder first. What's your thoughts on the game and prediction?
We've played well away. Charlotte's in bad form. We're going to squeak by 2-1. I'm going to give goals to Ojeda and Paslich.
Okay. Alex?
4-0.
Orlando, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, go.
Charlotte's been horrible. I think the guys are going to come back and do what they need to do and get it taken care of. Another match where I would love to go. They got flights direct from Indianapolis on American. I can hop on one for free. So if I'm off Saturday, if I'm not flying, I might try and find one of those and get on over to the game. We'll see. I'd just give it about a 10 to 20% chance right now, but there is a chance.
Tell me there's a chance.
So in their last 11 games, they are 2-9, including a 3-1 loss to us. They are going to be missing some of their better players. It's a road game, so like I understand that those can be more difficult, but this is as must win as it gets for me. Like this should be a layup of a game. You don't want to give them any bit of hope realistically. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to give it the same score that it was when they played in our house. I'm going to go ahead and go 3-1 and give me a Ojeda brace and a Paslich goal. Keep both of those guys hot.
This is blood in the water game.
You have to, like, blood in the water, you have to circle and you have to go for it. 100%. So do it. Put Dean Smith out of his misery. They were at one point, I want to say 11 games into the season, they were top of the East with 19 points. And right now they're at 25 and out of a playoff position as it stands. Like, that's how far they've fallen. Keep kicking them while they're down. You have to. All right. Alex, I'll go to you first. You got any shout outs?
Which one?
Sure.
I'm gonna shout out Matt Freeze because I have never seen a guy outside of a video game of FIFA stand straight up down the middle and stone a penalty. Like I've never seen that.
That was
Usually
sick.
if it's down the middle, they kick it, they get a foot on it or a leg or something. They get lucky, but I have never seen a guy just say, "I'm going to stand here. I think he's going to go down the middle," and he goes right down the pipe and he just bats it away with his hands like he's playing a 6-year-old. I thought that was the most badass like Superman thing I've ever seen.
I don't remember
shootout.
I don't remember what page it was that showed some of the highlights. I think it might have been one of the soccer podcasts that the Pat McAfee guys do, where they were talking about it, and you got they're not soccer. Concafa, yeah. They're people that listen to the Pat McAfee show for the most part are not soccer people at all. And people are like, "Oh man, this just seems so easy." And I'm like, "No, that never happens." Like
everybody talks about the Panenka and like, you know, how that's like the dirtiest move in penalty kicks, like just
no, that what Matt Freeze did was colder,
100% colder, 100%. So give it to him.
Fair enough. Ryder, what do you got?
Shout out to the, for lack of a better term, somewhat failure for the 2025 Summer of Soccer between the attendance issues at the Club World Cup and just watching the Gold Cup in more empty NFL stadiums. They played at Minnesota Stadium the other night, and I went when they were there 4 years ago at Allianz, the Minnesota United Stadium. That place was packed. Just play these matches at soccer stadiums. Don't do it at these stadiums that are meant for NFL teams when you're going to overcharge and people aren't going to be able to get in. Just let people in. Don't prevent them from being there. Like, not even going to get into the politics of why the Club World Cup is such a nightmare, but we're a year out from the most important year of soccer for the next probably 20 years for the US, not counting the Women's World Cup, which might be coming here in the next couple of years. I think that was 5 years from now.
I don't remember the years, honestly.
But that was the rumor, is they're going to give it to us not this next cycle, but the one after that. What are we doing? Stop inhibiting the game. Stop making the growth happen. Let's just do it. Let people in. Let them watch the soccer, no matter who they're rooting for, even if it's not the US. So,
no, I'm with you on there. It's got to be a game for everybody, you know. And
when you price people out,
when you price people out of it, you can't do it, you know.
Pricing people out, scaring people away, it's
not a good look.
Not good.
It's not a good look. And I will go ahead and make a parallel to that, just because I'm you guys know I'm an avid wrestling fan. There was a bunch of TikToks I saw recently of people talking about like going to the big show that AEW is doing versus going to a TV episode of Monday Night Raw. And the tickets for AEW's biggest show to have a seat on the floor is literally half the price of just a TV episode of WWE. Like, crazy what tickets have become nowadays. It's sad. But I'm just going to give a quick shout out, two quick shout outs. First, shout out Alamo Drafthouse. Probably shouted it out before. I don't care. It's a good summer for movies as far as I'm concerned. And I have their movie pass. I just saw the Phoenician Scheme the other day. I'm going to go see F1 this week. And then I got Fantastic Four and Superman and Jurassic Park coming out this month. And you know what?
Elio?
Not yet, because it bombed at theaters. I was kind of surprised to see that.
Go see it. I did not at all cry during that movie.
Oh, okay. Right. Fair enough.
I was going to go see it, but I'm by myself, and I didn't want to be that weird guy by himself.
Wait for it to be out another week before you go see it, and maybe go see a late night showing on a weeknight, like so that way it's less weird.
Okay. All right.
That's what you got to do with the
F1 movie was fantastic. It was very Top Gunny, standard, typical sports movie, and it was well put together. As a avid F1 fan that does not miss a practice session, a quali, or a race, I was happy with the combination of the few one-liners that only true F1 fans that watch all the time would understand, those little quirky one-liners, and then with the overall ability to explain F1. I know a lot of people were upset with like how the calendar rolls up and all this stuff, but unless you're a geek for racing, that's weird. That's weird. A weird geek for racing, because you can be a geek for racing like I am and not be upset about the calendar. Anything. But you're weird if you're upset about how a Brad Pitt movie says the Daytona, the 24-hour Daytona, which is usually in January, February, and then 2 weeks later Silverstone, which is next weekend, is in June for F1. People were upset about that, but I didn't even cross my mind watching the film.
Fair enough. I am excited as someone who doesn't watch F1 though. I'm excited to just see it because it seems like it's going to be a really good shut my brain off and just enjoy some awesome stuff kind of movie.
See it in IMAX if you can, for sure. It was. I don't think
Alamo doesn't have IMAX, but they do have like a thing called the Big Show, which is just like a gigantic screen with better sound quality. So I'll probably go see it in there if it's there. And second, shout out to my folks. They're coming out to visit me in August, and I'm really excited to see them. So
nice.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Nice and easy. That's an episode, though. So we have to go and beat Charlotte on their home, hopefully still natural grass this weekend. I'm pretty sure I got nothing going on Saturday, so I'll be back for Den After Dark for that. Let's go get a dub. And as always, guys, Vamos Orlando. Let's get it.
Vamos. Happy 4th.
Happy 4th, yeah. Go eat as many hot dogs as you can in 10 minutes.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Orlando Lions Den podcast. Don't forget to follow us at Orlando Lions Den on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. See you next week in the Den.